Mswatu inkosi ithula akayithathe akahambe nayo akayithathe yotenza bakhe wone akayithathe
Really, a very good morning. This is the Monday edition of Kusile. Professor Sasamugutini, We're happy to hear. We're happy to be with you here this morning and thank God Almighty Guguti Sinbon and Amtlaexeni. Good morning.
Yeah, Kusile, it's an exciting day indeed. Lomuhla sisa qala liviki. Of course, World Cup action is continuing and it's underway, and Eswatini TV continues to give you live broadcasts of some of the important games la qhubekako. We hope ukuthi ama team enu ayawina. Lulu kunana indzaba yokuthi ngengabuka nje labanye bo podcast bathi kunabo babe laba favor kakhulu kangangokuba i-team yabo nayidliwe kuba munyu la ndlini.
Yeah.
Wonke umuntu uyasafarisha.
Khona la ngambona khala ngamangala ukuthi no ibhola iyathandwa impela.
Kungcono lo tukhalela yena kukhwala bathi bangakhala bese kungathi sekungakhala wonke umuntu la ndlini.
Yeah, I've seen such stories on TikTok, the wives and asabaxoxa ukuthi hey kushubile la endlini indaba ye World Cup.
Yeah, no. So it's not a reality lapha ekhaya ngoba phela sihlangu semnikada sidlala lapha yana. Kuthi ngawusokwatelana ke ngoba phela bosikhali abekho lapha on those pitches. Ngabe nje sawudlala ngathi uyasichaphatha. Bekunene sisekutonza bathe ma sports lo muhla sita ubuka basketball. We'll be doing a lot of profiling around basketball. We will start with the NBA finals. Let's see wabonile NBA season lephethe history as the New York Knicks ended a 53-year drought, clinching a championship against the San Antonio Spurs. We'll be in conversation with Sibonelo Mamba, who is an employee here at Eswatini TV, but also a big basketball fan and enthusiast, who's going to give us his insights as to, how impressed he was with this season, in particular the team that he supports, Los Angeles Lakers, which didn't get too far into the postseason, but also the very, very thrilling postseason from the semi-finals into the eventual finals with which the New York Knicks eventually clinched. But also we want to bring it home and look at the upcoming Winter International Basketball Tournament set to take place from the 10th to the 12th of July at Mavuso Sports Center and UNESCO Emporium and the MPH at Kwaluseni. We want to get in conversation with the Lolo Mgomezulu and Thandokuhle Mkhatshwa, who are representatives of the basketball group that is organizing this international tournament, boasting teams from South Africa, from Lesotho, from Mozambique, as well as Eswatini. It's going to be an interesting conversation indeed. Stay with us.
At our first 6 this morning, we'll be joined by the Commissioner of Refugees from the Ministry of Home Affairs, Dr. Malaguti. On Saturday, the world commemorated World Refugees Day. As in Eswatini, we did commemorate this day. Minister Akoke statement on this special day. She'll be joining us from how many asylum seekers or refugees are officially registered in the country, and tinombolo tema arrivals diakula no matiyangipa dikhulile no matingiphile in the last 12 months, and if so, what is driving the new numbers of arrivals?
Good morning once again. You're watching Kusile Breakfast Show. This is the Monday edition. We hope you are starting your week in high spirits and in good health. We also hope that you will enjoy the program as we have laid the agenda for you. Stay with us.
Christian retailers, importers, clearing agents, and customs brokers. All television sets and decoders entering the Kingdom of Eswatini now require mandatory ESTVA authorization before customs clearance. No clearance without valid ESTVA import permit. Don't risk delays at the border. Submit your application 24 to 48 hours before your shipment arrives. We process complete applications in just 1 to 2 working days. Our QR-coded permits make the verification quick and easy. Always double-check your HS codes and quantities for smooth compliance. The process is simple. Step 1. Submit your completed application form. Annex A with product line items for TVs, decoders, and commercial invoice. Step 2. Eswatini TV reviews and approves. Step 3. Make payment and complete verification. Step 4. Receive your permit. Step 5. Clear customs smoothly at the border. Make sure you have all your required documents, a completed application form, Annex A detailing your product line items, commercial invoice, valid TV retailer license, and letter of authority if applicable. Our permits feature QR codes for easy border verification. For assistance, email us at license@eswatinitv.co.za or call our help desk. Apply before your shipment arrives. Ensure compliance and avoid delays. Remember, all TV sets and decoders entering the Kingdom of Eswatini must have a valid ESTVA import permit. Thank you. Act now.
Asipenze sinemukele na Tindzaba. Indvuna yelitiko letemfundvo umhlonishwa Owen Nxumalo ithi iyajabula ngendlela letibonakala tikhula ngayo temakhono etikolweni takuleli. Indvuna ithi lokhu ngikona kunemandla lamakhulu ekubambiseni live kuthi imfundvo yamakhono lesafika etikolweni competency based education ishicileleke kangcono kubafundi. Indvuna ikusho lokhu kumancamo etingoma temakwaya etikolwa letiphakeme lababanjelwe e-UNESCO Sports Emporium eKwaluseni ngelisonto.
Tinkulungwane temaswati betiphumile kuyawutibonela ngemehlo ucutselana ngemakhono kwebafundzi. Induna yetemfundo lapha eveni umhlonishwa weNxumalo inaba ngekubaluleka kwalomcutselwano kutemfundo.
Lokungijabulisa kakhulu ukuthi ngilele sithuke ngingokona lokungemakhosi ukuthi asihambeni setikolweni sithuthukise emakhono. Ngiyo ke le CBE lesihlale sikhuluma ngayo. Lokunye ke lokumnanzi ukuthi abantwana bajabulile sihlangene si-youth lokho ke emakhosi ayakuthanza kakhulu ukuthi sikukhuthate etikolweni. Sibonge nasetikolweni bothishela bathatha isikhathi sabo baba practices labantwana kube nema rehearsals nabantwana kube ne sacrifice leyo sikutholako kungenxa ye sacrifice nema rehearsals lobonako vele ukuthi kusenjetiwe.
Umphathi welibandla letemasiko nemakhono lapha eveni Stanley Dlamini uthi bayathokoda ngemcumo lobonakala ukhula njalo ngeminyaka kulolu hlangothi.
Nawubona kudlondlobala kwe-choral music kufuna bese uyagijima unakaphinze kudlondlobala kwama-artist event kokuthi mhlambe ngasikho kuleli zinga lesikulo ebe tikolwa noma ke choral abantu abesikolwa abakawufaki lo mfutho labawufakile mhlambe bothishela. Choral i-train abantu lababili, i-trainer lo muntu lotawuphinze endele likhono lakhe libe indlela yokudiphilisa. Lendlule lapho litraine nalabantu laba lidevelopa le passion ye audience nema fans ukuthi sine siyawulandzelela i-choral music ngoba esikoleni sethu beyihlatshela.
Lo khulumelela abesekelelo umqhudelwano ngemali uyaveta ukuthi yini lebathinzile.
Laba bantwana besikolo engumlibalo ya embili, there's a future leaders. Nawubuka ichoral iletha timfundiso letiningi emntwaneni. It instills both creativity, discipline, cohesion, teamwork. Tintfo lekungitona sitidzinga kubaholi bakusasa. Kungako ke nathi sing-Old Mutual sithi nasifika lesicelo sabona ukuthi kuhle kakhulu ukuthi sitawusekela abantwana besikolo.
Elangeni langemcibeli esigabeni lesingephansi kwalesi kulomqhudelwano sikolo lesikhulu se-MTS High School ngiso lesidle lupethu lo msebenzi wesekelwe ngilabafaka ikhazi Old Mutual isikhwama sepension kanye nelibandla letamakhono kanye nemasiko. Lo bikako ngumpendulo gumba nathanda kuhle Mdluli ekwaluseni.
Njengoba emalungiselelo emicimbi wembukiso walonyaka asachubeka, inkampani yahulumende lechuba lombukiso yeSwatini Investment Promotion Authority ikhuthaza abosomabhizinisi ukuthi bafake isicelo sokuchuba emabhizinisi abo ngesikhathi salombukiso njengoba emalanga ekufaka leticelo asayaphela. Lokhu kushiwo ngumphathi wetekuthengiselana kule nkampani Sihle Ngabinze nakaxoxisana netinsatheli talomsakato.
Savula ema-applications sawavula ngaye inyanga ya March. La sithi khona abantu abaqale ba-applyele bafune kuba setitandini kaDayoni Trade Fair. Le indvuna yasiphe emalanga ukuthi itaba mhla ka-28 August besiphela mhla ka-6 September kuwo lo setulu umnyaka. Nyalo sesisestejini la sesithi khona sitawulungiselela maybe kuvale ama-applications. Ngikhumbule nje ukuthi ama-applications zethu satama lokuthi sisonzete i-app lekuthiwa i-ITF app la u-applya khona utendele konke ubhadare khona kiyo phindze i-allocate lokuthi usositholile esikhala usithole kuphi. Asukumile ke bosomabhizinisi balakhaya eSwatini nabo somabhizinisi nabachamuka ngaphandle kwemave labo lesesibasomile nabo basesema-process akuyona ama-application. Labanye ke sebabhadele vele ukuthi sebavele etandeti abo sebavele bati-confirmile kusibataba khona kunye nansi kulo mnyaka lona ku-trade fair. I-application ke yethu lesikhuluma ngayo i-deadline yakhona itaba mhla ka-25 kuyona lenyanga lesedulu. Bese sesithi ke payment ke nanayo itaba kule nyanga letawulandzela yena July nakhona mhla ka-25 July la i-payment deadline sibeke khona. Sitamani ke lana sitama ukuthi bosomabhizinisi bakhumbule lokuthi indzawo yaseshowini kuba nathi eshowini awuyibambi ngokuthi u-applyile kodwa ibamba ngokuthi sowubhadela wabhadala leyo ndzawo yokuthi ube khona utokhona khangisa khona trade fair. I-trade fair ke njengoba uyathi lokuthi iba ngu-10 days esikhatsini esiningi sidame ngayo yonke indlela nana sisiyinkampani leletha yona i-trade fair kwekuthi kasingakwendi kube likhuni ukuthi somabhizinisi akhona ekuvakashelwe ngilabo labafise kuba kubhizinisi naye noma labafise kuthenga lawo ma-products akhe. Sa-decide ke ukuthi ayibe mahala kungena eshowini kulowo lozivakashele akhona ekuvakashela titandi. Eminyakeni ngeminyaka siyabona ukuthi inombolo tiyakhula sicale ngabo bosirekhoda bo-45,000 abantu labavizithako but kulo mnyaka lophelile ke tigcine tisetfusana nathi ngoba tifike ngedudlwana kancane nje kwa-70,000 bantu lesibe nabo khona trade fair lo mnyaka lophelile.
Umbutho wemaphoyisa eMbube ucela kubanjiswa sive seMaswati ekutfoleni itigilamkhuba letitholakala ngekubamba inkunzi indvodza leneminyaka lengu-28 yaseSinyamandulwa elibulini. Kulesigameko lokubikwa ukuthi isenteka esiphofaneni mhla ka-16 June losabambe kuba ngumxhumanisi wemaphoyisa nesive noSipho Mnguni unika sithombe ngalokwenteka ngalelo langa seyigabence insimbi esiphohlongo ebusuku.
Singemaphoyisa ikakhulu ngelihlangatho laselibulini ngesiteshi saselibulini sithanda kubika eMaswatini kucela eMaswatini kusifunisa kumbe emadvodza lesicabanga ukuthi mane lekafunelwa ukuthi enkwathe ngemhla ka-16 June abamba lenye indvodza leneminyaka lengu-28 yasendzaweni yaseSinyamandulwa ephaselibulini lapho khona sigcine sibafunela emacala lamane robbery, attempted murder, kidnapping ne-extortion. Wathi ngaleli langa leli bekabuya endzaweni yakaManzini abuya kothenga imoto. Wathi ke ahamba kabila khona ekhaya kwathi nake ngcenje endzaweni yasemkhaya kuSiphofaneni. Wathi ubanjwa ngamadvodza lebekangu-4 ngenombolo. Ambamba ke amkhipha lakhathi emotweni. La motweni isho ukuthi bekanemali nje legaka 10,000 bayithatha ke leyo mali. Base bamgwaza nangesikhali kanye langemuva. bamthatha-ke bamfaka emotweni yabo base bahamba naye. Basahamba naye-ke la ndleleni sitholile ukuthi bebathole bathi akakhiphe lenye imali. Kodwa-ke watama kubatshela ukuthi kude imali lanayo. Bamthatha-ke bahamba naye bagcine bamfostelele ukuthi bahambe baye ekhaya kibo. Lapho khona bafike bakhanza sisi wakhe khona babathi bamtshela-ke lo sisi ukuthi ngabe ufuna ukuthi bamkhulule lona mnakabo akabanike imali. Kusho ukuthi-ke lekhaya ikhona imali lebeyikhona lenganga-70,000 yagcine lo sisi ayikhulula vele ayinika letigilamkhuba ukuthi phela tikhulule umnakabo. Kodwa-ke nasebefika ekhaya usho ukuthi labantu bese bangu-5 ngekuthi sisola ukuthi kukhona lo mele bamthatha endleleni nabasenda lesigigaba lesibona. Lesi ngamaphoyisa-ke sifuna bona laba ukuthi laba kukhona labangabathola la kumbe labangaba nalo lihala abasitshele. Kodwa-ke singamaphoyisa sithandza kusho ukuthi nje kuleli langa lanamuhla kwaba khona indvodza lena 30 years yasenzaweni yasemkhaya le kusikhuluma kunyalo ikhona etandleni temaphoyisa. Siyayikhulumisa nje-ke ngayo yona lendzaba le. Lesiyethemba ukuthi lena ndvodza lesesinayo nyalo iyona letawuchubeka isinikela uhala lekuthi laba labanye kumbe singabathola ndawo yiphi. Sitawucela nje kakhulu ukuthi bantu sive Nkosi yami sichubeke sisisite njengoba sibonile ukuthi make basisita emveni lapho khona batawuthola nje luhala lolungathinzana nalendzaba le. Basheshe bathinze wona amaphoyisa asenzaweni yaselubulini noma-ke bashayele yona tinombolo tethu lesisebenzisela kuhlaba umkhosi letithi 999 noma bo9 labangu4 noma-ke bashaye yona inombolo lethi 112.
Kude imimango kanye nelive ikhona kulwa ngcono nekwanza kokuhlubetana kwakhiwe emakhaya laqinile kuphinze kuncobe nemagcubu phecelede enga bantu besilisa kakhulu labo labasebasha bayadinga kunikwa lithuba lekufundiswa ngebucotho lapho nabo bakhone kufika babhoboke ngebulukhuni lababhekana nabo belapheke. Lokushiwo nguSamkelo Motha lobuke bantu labasha la embi kwakhe lapha bahlangene khona bangemadvodza kuvunulisana ngendlela lengiyo yekuphila.
Kuphumelela kwalomsebenzi wekuvunulisana kwebesilisa kube kubambisana emkhatsini kwelisonto le-Glorious Church of Christ embi kwakhe kanye namenhlangano lebukete indzaba tabo babe iMen's Corner lokufika isikhathi lapho khona solo ibonakala imibiko yebantu labahlukubetana kwebulili lapha eveni ikakhulu kubantu labasha. Emalangeni lambalo lendlulile nelihovisi leliphini landvunankulu livetile ukuthi selivele nemibiko lengetulu kwa 14,000 ekuhlukubetana ngalolu hlobo. Inhlangano yebantu labasha nayo ivetile ukuthi 36.2% kubantu labasha bendlula hlobo lokuhlukubeteka emalungeni emndeni. Sihlalwe abantu labasha embi kwakhe Samkelo Motha uyachaza ukuthi yilento ukuthi bayisukumele etulu lendzaba.
Budvodza baye bathi ngesoda bukhulelwa baphindze futhi bathi ngeSwatini gotsho lisemanti uchamuka nako lekuncaneni bakho ukhule nako ukuthi labaye babona benta tintfo ngendlela letsite bese nawe usuyafisa ukuthi kukhulise kanjani. So sengumango ke thine futhi silibandla sifise ukuthi bobhuti bethu labakhona ebandleni batfole bobabe labantu basibonile babakhombe indlela babe locotfo emangweni nasebandleni umcuwa ngekuthi ugwema lemikhuba lekhona angeke babe locotfo bese kuye sekutfolakala kuthini ubulele le lobucotfo bungona finisi ukombiyela ukuthi angacala tikhanziseka wele eweni naye sekangene kule mikhuba.
Lababe ingcenye lombuthano bafetha inhlangothi labavuleke ukuthi emehlo basehlangene.
Mangabe nilakhaya uyindvodza wena understandani ngoba namake bawungekho wena kanti senginelukhula labaleni uyagcinza naye akusho ukuthi ufuna mele babe
masibangani siphilena la sithandzana si honest with one another ngidawukhona ukuthi mnethu sofuna kona ke nyalo because iqiniso lithi asivakashelane nje bancane labakuhlolako
nawufe ungayendi lewili bungoti bako ke lo ukuthi lo mkakho bamkhokhisa kwesilima bamtshela ukuthi ngabhoti la sewufile bhoti so lobo utengaye sekuphelile baqoshe abantu bakho emhlabathini wakho baqoshe umkakho emhlabathini wakho.
Mangabe nje khona la uvukela khona uye emafemini uhole 1000 asokubeke 100 rand namuhla sibone simakuphela umnyaka ngeke ube nabo 1000 labaningi.
Asibe beware suthi ema decisions efu siwathatha kanjani singawathatha ema decisions masikwatile
njengoma lona bekungumbuthano wekucala leti nhlangothi tibe ethembisa ukuthi lokhu sekutawuba ngamahlale khona kulendzawo njengoma nayo ingilenye lenemibiko yokuhlukubetana lo bikako ngumpendulo kumbi kumalinza.
Labasebentela emabandla enkolo ebuKristu etigabeni letihlukene letifaka ekhatsi labo labahlabelako nalabadlala tigubhu kufanele bahlungwe ngekukholwa nangekutinikela kwabo kuKristu. Lena ingcenye yemavi eseluleko lacuketfwe nguyinye yetincwadzi letinsha letibhalwe ngumfundisi Bheki Khumalo. Letincwadzi titfulwe ngalokusemtsetfweni emcimbini lobanjelwe ehhotela le-The George.
Esikhathini lesindlulile kuke kwavela etinkundleni tekuchumana ukuthi labanye bazalwane labayingcenye yokuchujwa kwetinkonzo emabandleni etenkolo impilo yabo ayibonakali ukuthi ingileconzile nobe cha, njengoba kuke kwavakala ukuthi labanye balabadlala emapiyano bakhulelisa imanthombadana, labanye labahlabelako bahlobonge. Seyikhona-ke incwadzi lekhomba indlela lengiyo lekufanele iphilwe ngilabo labacuba imisebenti lehlukene yelibandla, The Worship Leaders Guide, lebhalwe ngumfundisi Bheki Khumalo, layichaza kanjena.
Ichapter yekuqala kule The Worship Leaders Guide. The first chapter ithi Identity Before Skill. Le ngaloko sizama ukukhuluma ukuthi akusiso skill mbambambamba. Kufanele ukuthi kwakheke lo muntu ukuqala bese ke skill sesingengeda hayi ukuthi khambe skill phambili. Yona ibhalelwe kakhulu nabalaba sihola envumisweni engathi phela eceleti ngema worship teams shokuthi fanana nemanual ukuthi side ukuthi iconzise ukuthi bangenta kanjani ukuze ukuthi lo msebenzi labawentako bawente kahle. Kunetinto letinengi letikhona lapho i-authenticity lokusho ukuthi lo muntu avele anguye ngaphandle kwekopha lomunye loseceleni.
Umfundisi Themba Ngozo wenhlangano i-Conference of Churches uthi kumgcoka kubhalwa kwetincwadzi letilekelela abazalwane ukuthi baphile impilo lecotho.
iBhayibheli i-master book yethu, kepha ke eceleni asibe khona kube khona netincwadzi lesitifundzako letisi equiphako eku-understandeni kahle nelibhayibheli netekusigayida ukuthi nasenta tinhlelo tsite esontweni singatenda njani kahle. Sine siyakhutsata nje ukuthi wonke umzalwane akabe netincwadzi latifundzako, akube nalakulalelako lokutamsita ekukhuleni. UNkulunkulu bantu bakhe bayabhubha ngenxa yekweswela lwati. So kufundza tincwadzi ngilenye indlela yekuthola lwati.
Lenye-ke incwadzi layithulile kulomcimbi umfundisi Bheki Khumalo ngileyo lenesihloko lesithi The Manifest of Presence of God, legcile kakhulu ekukhuthateni bazalwane ukuthi batisonzete babe nebudlelwane naNkulunkulu. Kubika Mbongwa Dube kaManzini.
Libandla linemsebenzi lobalulekile wekunakekela abantu labadzala etidzingweni tabo letihlukene njengoba sebete imandla ekutendela letinye tintfo ngenxa yekukhula. Lamavila washiwo ngumbhishobhi Herbert Mavimbela welibandla lekupheleni Church in Zion kuBoyani ngaphansi kwenkhundla yaselutse ngesikhathi lelibandla linikelela abogogo labangemashumi lamabili nakune ngetingubo netinkhwa ngekubambisana nenkampani ePremier Eswatini.
Leli bandla lekuphileni Church in Zion kuBoyane lithi lendele nkonzo ekunikelela abogogo ngekulandzela tifundziso tencwadzi lengcwele kanye nekuhamba etinyathelweni temakhosi elive lahlala bakhathalela abantu labadzala. Umbhishobhi Herbert Mavimbela lothulela umnikelo kubogogo uqale ngekubentela inkonzo yesidlo senkosi walifundza kubaseKorinte bekucala sahluko 11 verse 22.
Sinabogogo labehlukene labanye Nkosi yami sebaba semakhaya abanabani lobasitako sevele babuke libandla sibitelwe lapha ekutheni asinakane. Lena inkonzo lekhomba luthando ukuthi siyathandzana, siyacabanga ngalaba labadzala bethu ngobe asihambisa odwana livangeli lethu sihamba nalabadzala. Bogogo labanye babo sesikhonda nabo ngazo ngalo ukuthi impilo ayisavumi. Lalabaningi babo nje labanye ke ngulaba lesinabo la ebandleni kodwa kubonakala lokuthi lemakhaya kuhambi kahle.
Egameni labogogo labaphuwele tingubo netingwa gogo Sipho Mbingo ubonga wagangatha kuleli bandla ngalomnikelo.
Sibonga loluthando bazalwane nisendele lona. Lithi live lenkosi sibusisiwe isandla lesiphako nale lesithathako. Nkosi Jesu akasiside. Siphila khona la sikhona khona. Leli bench labogogo kude bazalwane la kuphileni. Kuthi ngiyajabula nawa labakhona labaseli.
Umfundisi Sibongile Mavimbela ukhuthatele abogogo ngemave encwadi lengcwele ukuthi ihlabelelo 23.
Lelo livilelo nje Nkosi yami balabadzala simnika lona licondzene nani ngalesi sikhathi noma ningasasiboni sichamuka ukhona lowelusenine ngetulu kwebelusibene siyanikhuthaza nje ukuthi ihlalane enkosini ningesuki noma kungasahambeki kuda endlini yenkosi kulabaningi bethu bogogo labanye basakhona labanye abakhoni kodwa kuhlala enkosini akusiko kuhlala enkonzweni uhlala kuNkulunkulu.
Umbishop Herbert Mavimbela uqhubeke wacela emabandla emangweni lehlukene kuleli kuthi angadzinwa kulula sandla kubantu labadzala etindzabeni kubika Mbonga Dube kuBoyane.
Idolobha laseSpiki selisayine izivumelwano sekusebenzisana nenhlangano yako Young Heroes lesitawucinisa budlelwane sibuye siqinisekise kufinyelela kwesive saseSpiki eliswetweni lwetempilo. Nomsebenzi wokusayina izivumelwano bokwazi ubambelwe emahhovisini alomasipala ngalesine.
Simu Young Heroes sitowuformalize ukusebenzisana kanye nedolobha laseSpiki. Umsebenzi wethu siwenda la emimangweni sihambele emakhaya kulesinye isikhathi ukhanze ukuthi labaphethe lamimangweni abati ukuthi kwendiwani ngakho ke Young Heroes namhla sithi asite sitochaza ngokuthi nasihamba Young Heroes suke sendani nokuthi yini inhlelo letinyeta Young Heroes letikhona nokuthi ke sakhekele ubudlelwane ukuthi sitawubambisana
kulokubambisana kwalolu dolobha na Young Heroes sive sasesibhiki sitawuzuza kulokuningi kakhulukati ngasehlangothini lwetempilo. Umphathi welidolobha lasesibhiki Daniel Pave uyachaza.
We're basically cementing a partnership here where we're assisting us with my services in all the 6 wards in terms of HIV prevention, education, and also providing my life-saving services across Ongelama ward and also my referrals. So we just want to extend my services so that see bridge the gap between my residents and the hospital facilities. Lapho kunema challenges khona kanti abakhonda access lawo ma health services kube khona ema channels lesingawenda through our partners. So Young Heroes will be coming in to just give us that mileage and boost.
Lesivumelwano selidolobha kanye na Young Heroes kubhekeke ukuthi sichube iminyaka lemithathu. Kubika Thabiso Maphanga esibhiki.
Kunathi temidlalo licembu lezakhele sengilobo champagne benzebe ye volleyball club championships kulandzela kuncoba ku Race Masters nga 3-2 lemidlalo beyidlalelwe enkundleni temidlalo ezakhele kaManzini.
Amaqembu esigaba se-National First Division nemidlalo volleyball akuleli kulesigaba lesingaphasi kwaleso lesiphakeme awagcini njengekudlala umqhudelwano ukuphela we-league kodwa akaphindze adlale nemkhumula jezi lokuyi-club championship. Kulempela sombo lamaqembu bekadlala emanqama emkhumula jezi enkundleni yasezakhele kaManzini. Amaqembu lamane aqala etholana esigabeni sama-semifinals lapho khona lamabili lokuyizakhele kanye ne-Race Masters anqobile kuma-semifinals kwase kuthi iqembu leMshinande neliqembu le-Tigers Masters akhala phasi lokwenda ukuthi wona lamaqembu lamabili adlale lo mdlalo kufuna lotawucetha senzaweni esithathu. Leqembu leMshinande ligcine liwunqoba lo mdlalo ku-Tigers Masters lokwenda ukuthi iMshinande iphume besenzaweni esithathu. Emidlalweni lomkhulu wemancane izakhele kanye ne-Race Masters lapho khona lamaqembu bakhiphana inkani kwade kwadlala emasethi lasihlanu. Izakhele igcine unqobile amaphuzu lamathathu kulamabili. Umcimbi wokuhlomelisa wona lamaqembu ladlale kahle kulo mqhudelwano utawuhlanganiswa kanye newe-Club Championships wesigaba lesiphakeme nakuphela wona. Le midlalo e-Club Championships isekelwa bakamula Sports ngemali elingu-40,000 emalangeni kanzi amaqembu ladlala sona lesigaba se-National First Division alishumi. Lobikako uLinda Dlamini. ezakhele kamanzini.
Anzike ngaleto temidlalo sithi phesa lapho tindzaba tetfu sasalikhefu siyabuya masinyane.
Kude lesinye isikhathi ngaphandle kwalesi
aba research bafunze.
Being risky means ukuthi nalokuwa kwayo kulula.
Nathi kufuna sente ukukhicita lokusembili.
Asimze sinamukele sithemba kusempilile lomhla ekseni sicibana nalo hlelo we joined by the Commissioner of Refugees losuka itiko letasekhaya Zanele Mlambo dokumleke ukuthi over the weekend umhlaba wonke ugubhela ilanga lebakhoseli emhlabeni iWorld Refugee Day nathi ke silive leSwatini sili commemorateile leli langa ngaloko ukuthi nathi sinabo bakhoseli labakhosele lapha ekhaya eSwatini sifuna kuveke kuye Commissioner ukuthi ingabe denombolo debakhoseli sabakhona lapha eveni sebangakhe nekuthi ngabe emalungelo abo anakekelekile yini vele lapha ekhathi temfumvo tempilo kanye naleti namanye emalungelo. Commissioner Sekuvusele, thank you for coming through on the show lomhla ekseni. Sinasikhulumisa nje itheme yalonyaka ye World Refugee Day ingabe siya align invele nathi singeSwatini.
Siyabonga Lulu, siya align ngicela nje ukukhumbuza umlaleli ukuthi siye back celebrate under the theme which has been running for a while. Let's see, solidarity with the refugees. But this year, special focus was on until everyone is safe. Lokusho ukuthi sonke sibhekile ukuthi sime nawo ama refugees. Was expected to support them, stand with them, but specifically this year because we celebrate the 75th anniversary the UN Convention on Refugees. Le khuluma ukuthi everyone has a right ukuthi asuke la evangazi ukuthi impilo yakhe isengodini khona. Shows that they have a right to flee where they are suffering persecution to a place of safety. So ke ukuthi unelungelo lomfu lokusuka aphinze aye kulenye indzawo afika mukeleke abe safe. So sinalo ukuthi ke siliveza seSwatini basadinga ukuthi siyakunakelela divakashi siphathana kahle ngenhlonipho. So nathi ngiyacabanga ukuthi siya align ukuthi ama refugees lala akangwane are safe.
Yeah.
Yes, ama international communities organizations ayendile le assessment akhanza ukuthi vele live la kangwane le safe. Nabo nabafika baye basho ukuthi sibalekelelana because ekangwane kune peace siyade ukuthi sidoba safe nasesifike khona.
Ngapha lama measures la thethwe live kwenda siqiniseko sokuthi vele ba safe njengoba sicubulo sisho ukuthi everyone is safe. Are they really safe? You know, what measures have we taken as a country to ensure vele ukuthi ama refugees are safe? Ngalokuthi siyathi ukuthi kunetindzaba tabo discrimination dokhanza ukuthi mhlambe sebahlu kubeteka ngandlela thide. Ngabe lokho siya khona ukuvimbela silive leSwatini ngiphi metamo lesithethe kuvikela lokho?
Ngicabanga ukuthi siyakhile imithetho legal framework yethu which is quite progressive. The Refugees Act, fairly new. It's almost 10 years old, younger 2017. So it's like enforced, I think around 2019. So it's re-established EMA institutions act. So not only the legal framework, nabafika siyabamukela, site good cases, only isolated ones. Labo khanza ukuthi maybe umuntu discriminated upon because refugee. Lokunye, the communities where we host the refugees, ubabongile nje minister nibonile enkulumeni yakhe like iphenge emcibelo lokuthi sibonge kakhulu. I think the Ubomba region from ku ababe RA las hosta khona ama refugees both in Zevani nase Malins. The host communities have openly received them. Bayabamukela ababa discriminate nema facilities abo, they've opened up unabo Malinza primary la kufunza khona ama refugees la hlala khona eMalinza, neMbaga high school nayo le benefitile actually for my programs ema refugees. So kusitana nje kuhlalisana. So the host community also benefits from my facilities like the camp, kune Malinza clinic at the center, where laba clients labonwa kakhulu on a monthly basis, baningi the members of the community than ama refugees la hlala la. So kubonga nje kakhulu lokuthi ngicabanga ukuthi sibaphethe kahle. La kangwane simukela they are free to live in Eswatini and work. So from the numbers that we have close to 5.1, but only 950 bahlala eMalinza. Lokusho ukuthi labanye laba self-reliant, they're free to move around. Bayasebenta, sinabodokotela, sinabonesi, sinabosomabhizinisi within the legal framework. La bavumela khona, mabo basomabhizinisi sitakhumbula ukuthi bavumeleke ukuthi basebente bavule amabhizinisi emadolobheni. And then le makhaya ke nakhona kunemithetho yakhona. Otherwise bayasebenta baya etikolweni, the healthcare facilities, they have access to that as well.
Yeah. So looking at the past 12 months, have the numbers of refugees decreased or increased? And if inyukile nombolo, what's driving the arrivals?
The past 12 months ngati when we celebrated from last year, sabona January 2025, influx ema refugees. Sa receive quite a number lebeyisuka eMozambique following the unrest post election. Elections corner beta ke saba hosta, so quite a number bajika. We want to believe a big number yajika, but kona laba solo bangakahambi. So that is also cause an increase of our numbers, especially eMalinza, with the numbers still remain very high. Then ngingathi nawubuka le trend over the past 2 months or so, we've received just not alarming but concerning numbers. Labanye basuka ku the xenophobic attacks from South Africa. Bangena ngalana, so we are monitoring the situation. Yes, bakhona labangenile, and we want to encourage everyone lo khona eveni kuthi abangabagcini bantu bangakasihloli thina.
Yeah.
So anyone coming in, it is advisable ukuthi bavele bete batosi hlola etiko or baye emaphoyiseni just to declare ukuthi they are here to seek asylum, because baze batholwa ngilabanye emaphoyisa noma kwafika immigration ekuqala bese kuba lukhuni lokuprova ukuthi vele indeed you are here to seek asylum.
Yes, sisilapho nje vele Commissioner bengisafuna ukuthi vele usithathe usibeke, take us through the process yokubhalisa kuba i-refugee lapha eSwatini.
Just as soon as you come in, you can do it at the border nawufika, or ngathini angifuni encourage abantu, but it's the only sector where illegal entry and presence is not prosecuted. Lokusho ukuthi ngalokuthi usukubaleka, you could ungene kuma informal crossings. Yes, but we really encourage lokuthi noma ngabe wende njalo ushoshe uti report ukuthi bodo wendani. Because you are free, ungangena nase border once you declare, bakusabakmikisa emaphoyiseni bese soqala ke the right processes. So when you come in, you have to declare ukuthi uto seek asylum. Nangithi you declare ngisho ukuthi assume kumele sive ngawe. Kungabi na even ukuthi maybe say afterthought ukuthi sebakubambile sengathi ukuthi wena uto seek asylum. The act wabeke my timelines, but as soon as burden ilago, and I think it helps you ukuthi now figure utekithi usho ukuthi uto declare i-asylum, utocela i-asylum. Here to seek asylum. So bese sesiyakuregister. sikunika a letter le confirma ukuthi sofikile la kithi udile wato declare bese sesikunika ke ema documents la laba yi confirmation ukuthi indeed you are registered with us as an asylum seeker, which then allows you to live in Eswatini and work. Bese ke usungakabi refugee as yet because sisuke sisatoenda i-adjudication of asylum claim. Lokusho ukuthi sisatobuka ukuthi vele uyaqualify yini kuba refugee even in terms of the act.
Okay.
Yes, so which then takes a while. The act is nigga like 6 months. So within 6 months, the adjudication of your asylum claim must have been completed. But it's not backlog, okay? So we're still looking at cases at 2023. Kwanyalo, but sisacelile ukuthi basingetele ema resources, even human capital, which is kwenda lama claims, so that just to align with the act. And umvanga tohlala sikhathi lesize kanzi aga qualify kanso umile ema routes. So what we then do, we then call you up for an interview, a status determination, where siyabuketa ukuthi bosuswe yini ekhaya. It could be persecution because of your belief, or it could be religion, nje fivefold your persecution, a race, religion, belonging to a certain membership, race, ethnicity, or it could be ukuthi vele la uhleli khona there is a war. We are born there's foreign domination, someone has taken over the territory. And then also, public order, government is no longer able to contain the situation. So now it's over, you are forced to flee to a place of safety. So we then do all of that assessment.
And of course, nemaphoyisa nawo double check ukuthi kudeni criminal record isikhathi kanti sesingenisa tigebengu eveni. Yeah.
The act vele vele ibeka sobala ukuthi who qualifies, who does not qualify. There are certain people who have committed serious non-political crimes in their previous lives, or labasuka khona, they don't qualify, or others who've committed war crimes, and people who are fleeing prosecution, not persecution, laba balekele macala. So sinendlela uthathe ama statements emaphoyiseni lokuhambelana nema fingerprints nathi we have a way of checking because now we register sithatha nema biometrics. Yes, so uthatha kabili nje. Uthatha with us so that in our system is linked to UNHCR. Now we has checkela.
Okay.
Then nema phoyisa now. Yes, so, and then also gulama statutory bodies la lenda le adjudication emaphoyisa now are involved. So nangabe khona labangakutholi kahle baya defer case yakho bahambe bayophenye. And also kule form lethu siyakubuda kwana nawe lokuthi kukhona yini bocala lo ke wabcommit. Nase sititholela, then it goes to credibility. Nase assessa le response yakho lo sinike yona. Affect vele.
Yeah. So do they have basic rights, my refugees? Yes, bakosele, but banayo vele malungelo, nasibuka education, nasibuka health, yeah, bo bayakhona ukuthi vele basitakale malula.
They do have rights. Kukhona rights that accrue to you by virtue of being a human being. No more refugee, no more in your country or wherever you are in the world. From as early as Nagwendo Aboyuti, our Universal Declaration on Human Rights, which goes everyone has a rights, that's it, fundamental rights. No matter where you are or who you are, refugee or not, people shall not be discriminated upon on grounds of nationality or race. So most of the rights are enshrined. They enjoy the rights that are in the Constitution, say for those la reserved for my nationals. Now, Then also kulama conventions lesawa sign silive la domesticated in the act la ngumthetho la Eswatini. Lama rights abo alistiwe kuthi they have a right to health, imisebenzi, then kusibasebenzela kangwane. Bavule amabhizinisi in conformity with imithetho le buketetini zabantu amabhizinisi. Then bane right yama-documents as well. So bayithola bo-ID, yes, the non-Swazi ID, ne-refugee passport that entitles them to travel anywhere in the world except for their country of origin. Ngoba sisuke sibanikele international protection because their government is unwilling or unable to assist them. So hence, you can go anywhere except for that country. Once wabuyela kulelo live, or lelo live la re-availa the protection, then our citizens, you are no longer a refugee because the circumstances that qualified you to be one sekulungile, so it can so akhona kubuyela ekhayeni, then that's when it ceases.
So do they need to stay for a certain period for them to be granted lama documents? Namanje kusikhona isikhathi vele. Lama travel document, ID, birth certificate.
Yes. So kuba asylum seeker kude le time frame. Remember, in terms of the law, as I say, it's fully established as administrative measures in place, which we are now fully implementing the act.
Yeah.
We will do the assessments within 6 months. Then EMA permits at 2 years. Once you are then granted the refugee permit, it lasts for 2 years. But there are circumstances, rarely though, where significant more years. So it should be good to some refugee for a long time. You've been with us for a very, very long time. And it's a very opportunity lefuna ukuthi uhambe maybe uye esikolweni abroad where it's a 5-year program, i-university sipalele, then we then issue that a permit for 5 years. We usually do it for students.
Yeah.
Speaking
of
not for new ones. I mean, those that have been here for a long time.
So speaking of students, so they do attend schools, obviously. Nje ushithi ukuthi baya emalenza primary school. Ingabe niyabalekelela enetindzaweni tabo my uniform, you know, ikhona ne support lele nibanika yona, ama fees, you know, and also another issue, language barrier. Leyo ingabe inisotha kanjani?
So ema refugees siyawalekelela ngathi through our implementing partner World Vision. So we are khona, depending on the availability of funds, akubathengela uniform ababhadalele school fees 50% waso yababhadalela. Then the rest are expected to pay unless until kube na partner lotako lomnyelo sotabatho phaphela. Otherwise, khumbula ukuthi laba kumalenza are the most vulnerable of the population that cannot fend for themselves. So we have a preschool within the compound. We do cater for my language barrier. But etikolweni ikuba tiba khona letinkinga, but they bayakhona ukuthi ba-adjust.
Okay.
But at the center siyabafundzisa singisi, siyabafundzisa nesiswati. And also the schools, let's say Malinza na Sembaka High School, bayakhona kuba-caterishela.
Okay.
Yes.
So akhona in my skills training programs la khona ekumalenza or elsewhere nje kuzama, you know, kuba sita ukuthi bakhona nabo ukucala amabhizinisi ngiyabekisa or bavule bendimisebenzi yetandla khona in my programs la kanjalo ekuzama nje kuba fundisa ngemakhona.
Yes, akhona. So through law implementing partner sinayo a livelihoods program, because kumbula imalenza it's a reception center. vele inyalo seyidesignelwe ukuthi uyafika as a new arrival sikucapacitate sikwenda ube self-reliant bese soyaphuma akusasiyo i-camp.
So bahlala isikhathi esincane babe self-reliant.
Kumele ukuthi ngabe kanjalo
But khona laba sola bahlala khona.
Yes, so but lesikwendako through ema-partners bayafundziswa kutfunga, bayafundziswa kwenda emabhizinisi. Most of them bathengisa second-hand clothing. Then kukhona labenda po carpentry, and then baphindze benda ne-agriculture. Emalinza nje siyalima. Nakulo mciblo nje losukile khona ema-seedlings bebawatfola bafundziswa nangalokulima. Sinema-workshops nje latako lesitabe siwenta ne-Taiwan nakhona itabe ibafundzisa ngekulima indigenous vegetables. I think vele most of our livelihood programs are based on agriculture. Sitalive even for food sovereignty enzevane nje sinemhlaba la sitawulima khona a big project le earmarked for agriculture.
So what is there a limit? You know, let's tibekele iyona silive ukuthi yabona nje ushuthi nje ukuthi sina over 5,000 wama refugees there. Is there a limit ukuthi hayi masifika 10,000 asakhona ukubangenisa? Are they not overcrowded in khona lapha reception?
That's a good question. Thank you. It's a question that's less to okay. Remember the theme kuti until everyone is safe. So, and everyone has a right to seek asylum anywhere in the world. So we're saying, you look at this person who's fleeing persecution all over, their life is in danger. The law says, my friend says, I get bored of when I was again, says, so you let this person in, and then, because they're fleeing to a place of safety, then you provide the safety. I think upese so yabona kuzwena njani, but kukhona lelo khona lekuthiwa yi-bed and sharing. Nase setinombolo seti high so overwhelmed. Ubese so we are uhlaminyanza leyo then sekuyabukakala ukuthi banga-resettlishwa or babone ukuthi bakusita kanjani as an international community. Otherwise tinombolo tethu ngathi tincane. I know why a small population, but it isn't going to be that because remember, this is only 5,000. We once hosted over 25,000 former Mozambican refugees in Zevan. Yeah, so it depends. That's why we need to be proactive, assess what is happening in the region so that we are prepared should Bantu Bangen.
Yeah, Sebenzisana with Mozambique and South Africa, you know, to move refugees and also repatriate them.
Yes, Sebenzisana nabo IOM, Sebenzisana na UNHCR as well. Now the neighboring countries, I think in terms of preparedness and planning nabo response, njenganyalo nje we are monitoring. So the both governments and the UN family banayo concern kuzasibuke ukuthi kwendekani.
Okay. So is there what's the biggest challenge nje lenisabhekene nayo? Sisabhekene nayo nangebeka kanjalo as a country nasikhuluma dona about the refugees lapha even.
Nginlenza bayehlala because we only have one reception center lekhona nyalo fully functional. Malinza, which is
how's the state of
overpopulated? Yeah, congested. Yes. So nanyalo nje as we are doing the monitoring, siyabona ukuthi simele sitfolele indawo. Fortunately nayo in Zevan. It's just that it ngathi ngema resources lamaningi should sisekhona inombolo lenkulu. Lekumele ukuthi sihlangabetane nayo. So it would be that Kusi Malinza, the biggest challenge in Zawe Klal. Kusi Malinza, so operator outside a capacity.
Yeah, so
also Logunye could see if funding within the humanitarian sector. See Ibona could see a shabalala. Yet the wars, Nalama conflicts, ayaqhubeka. So kuba ngiloko nje ukuthi ngabe uhulumende angabambisana kanjani, because siyabona i-budget besithola from UNHCR seyinciphile, and I affect only Eswatini kuphela, the region nje, the Southern Africa region. We've seen ikuvalwa i-bureau yethu eSouth Africa because we are hosting a few numbers, and the region yethu is generally considered safe, which is something that we should safeguard.
Okay.
I don't think if fiscal condition yet we cannot afford a war in any of the country, neighboring countries, because not only if it breaks out in South Africa and a refugee situation has arisen, then the neighboring countries feel it as well.
Yeah.
We felt it in unrest in Mozambique. Like I'm saying, part of the reason why that there's a congestion, because some of them did not leave and could kunlokuba uproot, although there are engagements between the two countries. So ngisho sekwendlulile kuyaqhubeka le strain sibe khona in the neighboring countries.
All right, kwagcina nje, Commissioner, if you could just share one or two stories, success stories of refugees la sebatindile lapha and have made a name for themselves. Akhona invele share one. Just one. 2 minutes. We have 2 minutes.
Singaqala education at Malinza Reception Center. Could see, I think even the neighboring schools, Malinza Central Primary, bangakutshela ukuthi our refugees are doing so well. Bayaphasa kakhulu. They are getting scholarships. Kukhona nje labase Waterford nabasuka khona bayeke abroad. Basuke bahambe ngema scholarships. We also have even from Malinza, a team yethu le participate ku Bushfire Schools Festival. I think they've been participating for the past 3 years. It's our pride nabo, but imisela shemne kusintfole nje that international flair. Kule micimbi le hostako. We also have refugees, but resourceful. We have one Mage Scholastic, low contributor immensely to the education sector, uneskola sakhe, so naturalized, Eswatini. Then we had, at some point, there were 2 heart surgeons last Eswatini.
Oh.
Dr. Pikilimana was one of them, and Dr. Mniz, a refugee. Also, our sports facilities and teams lenders khona. So bantu nabo bayakhona contributor even to the economy. We have one refugee who was hosted is country of origin, in his country of origin, one farmer of the year. So we're looking as we focus more on agriculture now,
yeah.
Yes, and others that are bringing more entrepreneurial skills, but banama skills nje lahlukile.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So we're learning a lot from them also. Yes, nabafika nje lakhona laba mangala ukuthi nemhlaba lo mhle kangaka, nemhlaba lo ngaka but anilimi, so we're learning from them.
Basita kakhulu. Okay, it's good to know. Thank you for your time, Commissioner. Nekusvetela nje sithombe sema refugees lapha Eswatini as the world commemorated the World Refugee Day on a Saturday. Siyabonga nje ukuthi uhulumende wahamba embili kwenesiqiniseko sokuthi bakhoseli bahlale kahle lapha eveni ngalokuthi vele nabo banawo emalungelo njengoba savetele nje Commissioner ukuthi vele baya esikolweni bayithole access to health, futhi ke labanye babo sebaze babo somabhizinisi sebavula amabhizinisi bayasebenza njengoba sicetha nje kusivetela kuma success stories ukuthi kuningi lokuhle laba kwendako lapha eveni. Seselikefu sabuya masinyane.
To connect your smart TV, start by connecting your TV aerial or antenna to the port at the back of your smart TV. Step 2. Switch on your TV, press the menu button and navigate to settings. Step 3. From the settings menu, select channels and input and press OK. Choose channels, then select channel scan. Step 4. In the channel scan menu, select manual scan. Set the frequency to 570,000 kilohertz, then press search. Note, ensure the tuner mode is set to antenna, not cable, and the channel type is set to digital, not analog. Happy viewing!
Welcome back, and in our international news, ahead of negotiations in Switzerland, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps has said vessels should not approach the Strait of Hormuz elsewhere, or else their security would be at risk. Iran shut the shipping lane on Saturday, saying that Israeli strikes in Lebanon constituted a breach of the preliminary ceasefire agreed between the U.S. and Israel on Wednesday. Iranian and American delegations are set to meet on Sunday to work out their interim agreement to end the war.
Traffic is once again at a standstill in this shipping lane that has become a flashpoint in the U.S.-Iran war. Just days after reopening it, Iran said it had shut the Strait of Hormuz, citing a breach of commitments by the U.S. and continued Israeli strikes in Lebanon.
We have adhered to our commitments. The other side was obliged to compel those under its influence, specifically the Zionist regime, to cease fire in Lebanon. They have failed to fulfill their obligations, and this constitutes a clear violation of the ceasefire understanding.
Pushing back on Iran's claim, the U.S. Central Command posted on X, saying they had a strong presence in the Strait of Hormuz, and reporting that 55 ships had crossed the choke point on Saturday. U.S. President Donald Trump threatened to impose tolls on the waterway if talks proved to be unsuccessful.
There will be no tolls in the Hormuz Strait for 60 days during the ceasefire period, and there will be no tolls after the 60-day period has expired, unless they are imposed by and for the United States of America, should the deal not be completed, for services rendered as the guardian angel of the countries of the Middle East.
Soon after, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance left for Switzerland ahead of Sunday's talks to implement the U.S.-Iran deal. Speaking earlier on Fox News, he expressed optimism for the negotiations.
My understanding, talking to Jared and Steve this morning, is things are going well. But of course, we're going to verify all of this. And that's the thing that, you know, a lot of the criticisms of the deal have really underappreciated, is that the United States has all the cards.
An Iranian team led by chief negotiator Mohammad Bagher Khalibaf has already arrived for the talks in Switzerland.
Bolivia's President Rodrigo Paz has declared a state of emergency, escalating a 50-day blockade crisis that has ground the country's economy to a halt. The move clears the way for military deployment nationwide. It comes hours after Paz struck a deal with the country's main trade union federation to end protests that triggered shortages of food, medicine and fuel across the capital.
Hands were shaken, pen hit paper, and Bolivians exhaled. President Rodrigo Paz has struck a deal with the country's main trade union federation to end the 6 weeks of protests and roadblocks that cut cities off from food, fuel, and medicine.
These 50 days have been hard days. There are people from social organizations with legitimate demands, and I clearly distinguish them from those who try to infiltrate the movement politically. I stand with those organizations, with the Workers' Confederation that's fighting for a future, because our debate is not about the past, it is about the future.
The crisis began with the workers' strike in May, escalating into blockades that strangled access to La Paz and El Alto, plunging the Latin American nation into economic and humanitarian turmoil. The Bolivian Workers' Confederation confirmed pressure measures will be lifted nationwide, with the government committing to honour the agreement immediately. Outside the palace, flags waved and people chanted that Bolivia won. This woman says they can finally breathe again and that a hard-working country can get back to work. But before the ink was dry, 500 kilometres away from the capital, the human cost is glaringly visible. These people have waited for days at the airport, forced to use air cargo just to send food home to their families.
We have already been sleeping here for a week just to send one 25-kilogram cooler. This is my home now.
The president has now declared a state of emergency, clearing the way for military deployment, which he says will restore order nationwide.
Ituri province in eastern DRC is the hardest hit by the Ebola outbreak. The response to the virus is underway. On the front lines of this outbreak are healthcare workers who feel increasingly helpless. They have never faced an outbreak of this magnitude before.
Coveralls, gloves and masks. This team is preparing to disinfect a clinic in Bunia, where 5 patients with Ebola were treated.
We'll start with the green zone, then the red zone.
Since the cases were detected, the clinic has closed its doors. To prevent the virus from spreading, every surface is carefully sprayed with chlorine water. Healthcare workers say they feel abandoned. The clinic is not equipped to deal with the epidemic.
Since we're facing this epidemic empty-handed, we have no resources to protect ourselves as healthcare workers. As a result, we're very afraid of losing our lives, just as we lost one of our colleagues.
Healthcare workers are the first to be exposed to the virus. Every day, they receive suspected cases before they are transferred to Ebola treatment centers. For many families, the outbreak has already taken its toll. Gracia is still mourning her aunt, a nurse who died from the disease.
She grew up with us. She was like an older sister to me.
With eyes reddened by tears, she denounces the lack of support provided to medical staff.
She told me she was treating many patients from Mongwalu. Most of them were dying. She was afraid. She worked without protection, taking blood pressure and temperatures without wearing gloves.
In Bunia, deliveries of masks, gloves, and other protective equipment continue. But on the ground, many believe these supplies fall far short of what's needed. At the Ebola treatment center in Bunia, another family weeps. Inside this body bag lies a midwife who died after contracting the virus. Authorities have not disclosed the exact number of healthcare workers who have died since the outbreak began. Despite their grief, the families refuse to lose hope. The Democratic Republic of the Congo has already faced several Ebola outbreaks. For them, this new battle, too, can be won.
Poland has withdrawn its highest state honor from Ukrainian President Zelensky after Kyiv named an army unit after a nationalist group that massacred Polish civilians during World War II. The decision by President Karol Nawrocki threatened to unleash a serious diplomatic crisis between the two neighbors, just days before a major conference on Ukraine's reconstruction is due to be held in the Polish city of Danzig.
A wartime alliance under strain. Poland has stripped Ukraine's president of its highest state honor. At the center of the row is Volodymyr Zelensky's decision to rename a Ukrainian military unit after the Ukrainian Insurgent Army, or UPA, a nationalist force who massacred Polish civilians during World War II.
I've decided to revoke the Order of the White Eagle from the President of Ukraine. At this point, I would like to emphasize, this decision is not directed against the Ukrainian people. It does not signify a change in the strategic direction of Polish security policy. We have supported and continue to support Ukraine because we know that Russian aggression poses a threat to the security of Poland and all of Europe.
The Ukrainian president was awarded this title in 2023, a symbol of Warsaw's unwavering support after Russia's full-scale invasion. For many Poles, the UPA remains synonymous with one of the darkest chapters in the two nations' shared history. Between 1943 and 1945, the UPA was involved in the Volhynier massacres. Warsaw says up to 100,000 were killed and classifies the massacres as genocide. Ukraine acknowledges the atrocities, but generally describes the violence as part of a broader wartime conflict. Today, Kyiv condemns Poland's decision to withdraw the honor.
We regret that emotions have prevailed in Warsaw and forced Polish politicians to take unjustified, impulsive, and contemptuous steps, not even towards President Zelensky, but primarily towards the Ukrainian state.
The controversy also highlights a long-standing divide over the legacy of the UPA. Some Ukrainians regard them as heroes for the resistance they mounted against the Soviet Union and Nazi Germany, and as symbols of Kyiv's struggle for independence from Moscow. The UPA is not the first controversial chapter Ukraine has navigated when building its wartime identity. The Azov Battalion, founded in 2014 by far-right and neo-Nazi volunteers to fight pro-Russian forces in the Donbass, was later integrated into the regular army.
Cuba's government has approved a sweeping package of economic reforms aimed at opening up its struggling economy and attracting foreign investment in what officials are calling one of the most significant policy shifts in recent history. Facing its worst economic crisis in decades, Cuba is grappling with widespread shortages of food, fuel, and medicine, as well as frequent blackouts.
In a landmark address to Parliament, Prime Minister Manuel Marrero Thursday unveiled 176 reforms to open up Cuba's tightly controlled economy. The package was unanimously approved by the National Assembly, marking a major shift in economic policy.
These are proposals to confront the crisis, opening a transformative window that, if not implemented now, could bring irreversible political and social consequences.
Facing its worst economic crisis in decades, Cuba is grappling with widespread shortages of food, fuel, and medicine, as well as frequent blackouts. The reforms mark the biggest economic shift since Fidel Castro's 1959 revolution. Key measures include turning state companies into commercial enterprises. Private firms with more than 100 employees, previously banned, will now be allowed. Cubans will also be able to own multiple businesses and acquire stakes in other firms. Foreign investment will be opened up, including in fuel trading. The move comes amid mounting pressure from Washington. Since January, a U.S. oil blockade has pushed the economy to the brink, with President Trump threatening military action.
We're going to see what they do, and obviously, if they do one thing, we're going to do something. If they make smart decisions, we're going to have a much better relationship with that island.
Former leader Raul Castro had reportedly approved the measures before they were presented to Parliament. It remains unclear, however, when they will come into force.
On Saturday, a Spanish judge ordered Begoña Gómez, wife of Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez, to stand trial for corruption. She is accused of using her position as the PM's wife for personal gain by securing work contracts. Gómez is now banned from leaving the country and must report to court twice a month until a verdict has been reached. This trial is the latest in a series of corruption inquiries surrounding, but not directly naming Sánchez. The growing scandals risk toppling his minority ruling coalition.
A legal battle is on the horizon for Begoña Gómez, wife of Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez, after a Spanish court said she must stand trial for corruption. In his decision on Saturday, Judge Juan Carlos Penado ordered Gómez to turn in her passport to authorities and required her to report to court twice a month pending a verdict. He said that she is a flight risk, arguing that the officers currently protecting Gómez could facilitate an escape that would make it impossible for the accused to be available to justice. The accusations originate from an anti-corruption group with far-right ties. They allege that Gómez used her status as the prime minister's wife to influence public contracts and advance her career. Gómez denies any wrongdoing. The Spanish public prosecutor has accused the judge of sowing confusion and trying to fabricate crimes, while Socialist Party leaders say the accusations amount to political persecution.
Today is a dreadful day for those of us who believe in justice. Truth will ultimately prevail.
But this is just the latest in a string of corruption inquiries into the Prime Minister's family and political allies. David Sanchez, brother of Pedro Sanchez, has been indicted on charges of influence peddling linked to his hiring by a regional government. Meanwhile, former Transport Minister José Luis Ábalos is under investigation for alleged kickbacks, while former Socialist Prime Minister José Luis Rodríguez Zapatero is facing an investigation for alleged corruption. All deny the accusations. Sanchez, who came to power vowing to tackle corruption in Spanish politics, has now found himself on shaky ground ahead of next year's elections. The Prime Minister maintains that these trials are part of a smear campaign, working to oust his leftist government.
Italy and the United States have plunged into a diplomatic spat on Friday after Donald Trump told Italian media that its prime minister had begged him for a photo at the recent G7 summit. It immediately sparked outrage in Italian political circles and beyond during a response from Giorgia Meloni herself as the fallout continues.
What a difference a couple of days make. From making nice with Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni at the Group of Seven summit in France, US President Donald Trump has triggered a firestorm, talking about her to Italian media on Friday.
She's probably happy I talked to her. I didn't have to talk to her. She begged me to take a picture with her. She wanted a picture with me so badly. I wouldn't have taken it, but I felt sorry for her.
Recrimination came thick and fast as Meloni herself took to social media.
Donald Trump's statements are completely made up. Frankly, I'm stunned. I can only say it's regrettable that he doesn't show the same determination towards enemies of the West, enemies of the United States, and toward leaders with whom he instead appears far more accommodating. But there is one thing he should remember: neither I nor Italy ever beg.
As the row gathered pace, Italy's foreign minister cancelled a visit set to begin on Sunday, and Italian politicians piled in, expressing their solidarity with Meloni, talking of a breach of relations or a lapse in style, and worse.
It is unclear whether out of intent or ineptitude, Trump is wrecking the historic relations between the United States and Europe. With his inappropriate outbursts, he has managed no easy feat to make the United States unpopular across the entire European continent, damaging not only Europe, but above all, the United States.
Meloni and Trump had close relations at the outset of the US president's second term. Meloni was the only European leader to attend his inauguration, seeking to be a bridge between the US and Europe. However, they've diverged in recent months over the war in Iran, Washington's position on Ukraine, its support for Israel, and Trump's criticism of Pope Leo.
It has been nearly a decade since Brexit, and calls for the United Kingdom to rejoin the bloc are growing, particularly amongst progressives. The issue has been further spotlighted amid the current political uncertainty, with Prime Minister Keir Starmer's job on the line, facing a leadership challenge from Andy Burnham. But will a change in government lead to reaccession?
For these Britons, Brexit was a nasty divorce. 10 years on, and they are still full of regrets, hoping they can get back together with Europe.
Brexit has been an absolute disaster for the country in many respects. Not just economically, but loss of freedom of movement, families being split up.
It's had, I think, quite a huge divisive effect on the country. It's split it down the middle, and nothing good has come of that since.
And they are not alone. Recent surveys show the majority of Britons feel that leaving the European Union was a mistake. However, a quick reunion seems unlikely, with or without Keir Starmer. The UK Prime Minister was elected on a manifesto to seek closer ties with the EU while staying separate. It's a manifesto he has stood by as his popularity has flagged and he has faced calls to resign.
This Labour government will be defined by rebuilding our relationship with Europe, by putting Britain at the heart of Europe.
Labour Party veteran Andy Burnham, who is on the precipice of succeeding Starmer, has said he hopes the UK will rejoin the EU within his lifetime, but maintains he respects the outcome of the referendum.
My view is that Brexit has been damaging, but I also believe the last thing we should do right now is rerun those arguments.
The 56-year-old's leadership bid was secured when he won the Makerfield by-election on Friday, seeing off the threat from Reform UK, the right-wing populist party, previously known as the Brexit Party.
The iconic reflecting pool, which stretches between Lincoln Memorial and Washington Monument on DC's National Mall, has turned green due to proliferation of algae in the water. It comes as the pool was recently reopened following renovation work ordered by Donald Trump that saw it painted American flag blue.
It was supposed to be American flag blue. Instead, it's turned an unappealing algae bloom green. The historic Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool reopened in early June following a controversial renovation project ordered by President Donald Trump with a hefty price tag of $14.7 million for US taxpayers. The reflecting pool was drained, repainted and refilled, but less than 2 weeks later, the paint is peeling off and workers are pouring hydrogen peroxide into the basin in an attempt to combat the algae. For tourists visiting the US Capitol, it's a disappointing sight.
I want my money back after seeing this. I think that it was a huge waste of money to begin with, and I think our resources could be used a lot better elsewhere.
The renovation work was carried out by a company tied to a Trump donor in a tender process that saw no other bidders considered. Atlantic Industrial Coatings had also carried out work on a swimming pool at one of the president's golf clubs.
The Trump administration operates at the sweet spot of malice and incompetence, and this is just the incompetence on display.
The renovation of the reflecting pool is part of Trump's push to beautify the Capitol. Other projects have included tearing down the east wing of the White House to make space for a new ballroom and building a giant arch near the Arlington National Cemetery.
Kenya just held a major conference on ocean protection, bringing together thousands of scientists, policymakers and philanthropists. The goal is to find solutions to preserve marine resources and prevent environmental degradation. Over the past decade, the East African coast has been particularly affected by declining fish stocks, pollution and erosion linked to rising sea levels. Bastien Renault and Elodie Cousin met with communities affected by advancing waters, a problem that is becoming increasingly serious.
These cliffs are being eroded, and along Kenya's coastline, the damage is growing worse.
When this house was being built, there was no problem. It was only afterward that the cliff began to erode because of the water. The water seeps into the ground and the cracks become wider and deeper. This house is built on top of it, so it is at risk.
Here the ocean is weakening both the land and homes. Some houses have already been swallowed up. According to the Kenya Meteorological Department, sea levels could rise by 60 centimeters by the end of the century.
If the glaciers from Himalayas melt and then they find themselves in the Indian Ocean basin, finally affecting Kenya. So if maybe countries can try to do or commit to reducing those emissions that definitely will result into those sea level rise, then I think will be one of the solutions that we'll be looking at.
Without coordinated action, coastal regions are left to deal with consequences that are already visible.
This is a solution to erosion and sea level rise.
Scientists are urging authorities to make Africa a key player in designing and implementing solutions.
It's something that has not yet been discussed or to see what solutions we can come up with. But I believe, coming from science, that we have the resources, we have the people, we have the infrastructure. We just need to direct our energy to issues that are affecting us.
She believes that if East African countries act now, there is still time to protect the Swahili coast.
The FIFA World Cup is in full swing, including in Canada. Toronto is hosting Saturday's match between Germany and the Ivory Coast. The German supporters are there and they are angry. According to them, the price of beer is far too high.
Looking to indulge two of their great passions, football and beer, German fans have descended on the Canadian city of Toronto ahead of their team's World Cup clash with Ivory Coast. Spirits are high, but so apparently are the prices.
The beer prices, as in Canada and in
and in the US are much more expensive than in Germany. In Germany, we pay about $6 to $7 a beer, and here it's about 10 to 14. In the stadium, it's 17. That's ridiculous. You have to make it much more cheaper because beer is essential for life.
For Toronto's bars, the German thirst is also a business opportunity and a logistical challenge. At the Pint Public House, staff say they've learned from Germany's first match.
Poured a lot of German beer on the first game. I think we went through 10 kegs of beer. So we're expecting to go through about the same. We don't think that we're going to run out of beer in any way, shape, or form. But you never know. You never know, right? So we have as much as we can store.
German fans may be willing to swallow the beer prices, but ticket prices are proving harder to digest. Some say the cost of a World Cup match in Toronto has become exorbitant, even by Canadian standards.
I think when you're traveling for a World Cup, it's to be expected that prices will be elevated. Ticket prices are insane. Here in the city, the ticket prices have been crazy. I myself paid $1,000 for my ticket. I think that's really the only thing that I've heard people complain about are the ticket prices.
If Germany win against Ivory Coast, they will qualify for the round of 16. For travelling fans, that might make the price of the trip a little easier to accept.
Chile is the cat, Mani the parakeet, and Nelly the elephant. Over the years, animals from across the world have predicted the outcome of World Cup matches. This year is no different, with the Canadian goldfish and Thai tigers and hippos putting bets on who will come out on top in the 2026 competition.
From Thailand to Canada to Mexico, animals are giving football pundits a run for their money. It's a phenomenon that dates back to the 2010 World Cup, when Paul, an octopus from the German city of Oberhausen, shot to fame for his uncanny ability to predict the results of Germany's matches. 16 years later, the trend has exploded, with hippos, tigers and goldfish forecasting how teams will fare in the 2026 World Cup. In Toronto, Swim Mbappe, a goldfish named after the France captain Kylian Mbappe, has correctly predicted the outcome of 14 matches so far from his very own underwater pitch.
Every day we have these cards that go on either side of the tank. We put the cards in, we start a timer, and give him a couple of seconds to contemplate who he thinks is going to win that match. And then the side of the tank that he swims to is his prediction.
Meanwhile, at this zoo in Thailand, a baby pygmy hippo chooses between different sets of food to predict the outcome of games. Elsewhere, animals have become mascots for their national teams. In Mexico City, Merlin the duck became an unexpected sensation after being filmed walking down the street in a Mexican football shirt.
We've always dressed Merlin like a son. I had to see him looking handsome, not going out naked in the street. So I always put little shirts and things on him. We never imagined the reach that this national team jersey would have, and we're grateful for it.
Merlin has been named Mexico's ambassador by FIFA. Fans hope his charm will carry them far in the competition.
And that marks the end of our international news. Thank you for staying with us. Let's go for an ad break. We'll be back shortly.
Be sure to catch Business Watch every Wednesday between 2 p.m. to 3 p.m, where we feature the latest updates on business news, market trends, and exclusive interviews with industry leaders, as well as insights on emerging small and medium enterprises in the commercial sector. Business Watch, your business leader.
All right, welcome back. We want to talk all things the National Basketball Association, popularly known as the NBA, with our friend here and our colleague Sibonelo Mamba, who is an avid NBA fan and follower, and also a fan of the Los Angeles Lakers, like many of the old folk that are watching us this morning. Well, the glory times of the Lakers, Sibonelo, as I welcome you to the program. Not so rosy anymore, but one wants to acknowledge that your team did pretty well this season, the Lakers making it into the postseason, but of course losing Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, two of the top three best players, LeBron proving to be one of the greatest ever. Just so take me through your emotions watching the Lakers this season and how you felt about them making it into the playoffs.
I think one good thing about the Lakers this season we saw is they came out. They performed very well, finishing on 4th seed in the Western Conference. One other thing that we saw was the rise of players like Austin Reeves, Luka as well. And LeBron shifting to be a second man instead of a first man that he's been with Miami.
Willingly.
Definitely, even the age factor, because he's got where he is now as a captain of the team, as a leader of the team, is to see a progression in the team. So considering his age, I think being the second man, leading from behind was the best option. Otherwise, the Lakers played very well. It's just that when we got to the playoffs, the injuries on Austin Reeves, Luka, I think it gave them a slow start.
Yeah, and another very interesting about LeBron. Firstly, I just want to your point, acknowledge his emotional intelligence, understanding his age, his knees. Well, his knees are still good, because his dunk compilation for this past season, perhaps his best dunk compilation of his career in traffic. So quite amazing, also doing that with both hands. But we have seen quite a beautiful story unraveling with the New York Knicks winning the championship. That is a conversation we'll get into. But I want us to get into the salary cap story, because you will remember when the New York Knicks acquired Jalen Brunson, he forfeited $100 million. He said, it's fine. Let's use that money to acquire Josh Hart, Jose Alvarado. Let's acquire these guys that I feel like Karl Anthony Towns, that will help me win a championship, right? And eventually it did help them. But maybe before we get into the New York Knicks conversation, I want to steal that narrative and bring it into the Lakers. LeBron right now, the narrative is that he might be leaving your Lakers, and him being a free agent, we don't know where he's going to go. LeBron loves to play with that, with Rich Paul. But do you want him to leave the Lakers and use that money to get more players that can help Luka and Austin Reeves, or you feel like you guys still need LeBron, maybe work with what you have with Luka and Austin Reeves and LeBron?
I think LeBron still has the energy to.
I think so too.
He's still fit. He still has the legs to carry him. I mean, when we look at his performances this season, I think for me, I'd want him to stay with the Lakers for that transition. With the younger players that are coming up as a motivator to the young guys, because I don't think the Lakers were that bad. They weren't really bad. So you need a player like LeBron in that team to continue probably for another season, and probably we'll see what happens next season. But coming to the issue of salary caps, one thing about American sports, including basketball, is that you don't just get to maximum salary. You earn it. So when a key player moves to a certain team and he negotiates the structure of players that he'd be very comfortable to play around, that obviously helps a basketball organization to perform very well. You'd remember this helped LeBron James when he was with Miami Heat, where he had Chris Bosh, where he had Dwayne Wade as well.
Ray Allen.
Definitely. So it's very key. As a key player, who are the players around you that will make you ball and that will make the organization play very well?
And LeBron is that key player, for being honest. All things considered, he is the brains and engine behind the team. Perhaps not the most talented skill-wise anymore, but you can really tell during the timeouts, even in the game, when they let him play one, that he controls the game much better and the tempo just looks much better. But I also just want to get your overall sentiment around this National Basketball Association season that just ended. What impressed you the most before we get into the postseason and the finals?
I think one thing that we must acknowledge with the modern basketball that is being played, it's no longer about key teams, your Boston Celtics, your LA Lakers, your Golden State Warriors. I mean, any team, when structured properly, can come to compete. Last season we saw the Oklahoma Thunders winning it. You know, and you'd remember the Thunders when they had Russell Westbrook, when they had KD
James
as well.
Harden at some point.
James Harden at some point. They were balling at that time. And after they left, you know, the Oklahoma Thunders, it was all over for them. But they regrouped, they came out strong last season, and they won the championship. And they didn't end there. They performed very well this season because they were #1 in the Western Conference.
I'll tell you what, I thought they were going all the way. I thought they were winning another championship. I thought they were going to go back-to-back, especially after Shai Gilgeous-Alexander won the most valuable player, deservedly so, and how he was performing in the postseason, even against San Antonio Spurs. But to your point, I think we also saw the rise of teams like the Detroit Pistons, Cade Cunningham and his boys, Houston Rockets. Obviously, they have Kevin Durant, but they also have the Thompson boy and Jalen Green. But we are seeing really young guys coming up. But I also do want to ask you, what do you think of guys like Ja Morant, who a couple of seasons ago looked like the next best thing, but has had some controversies around his career?
Yeah, he definitely has had some controversies around his career. I mean, that's what happens with some of the players around the NBA. But you know what you just highlighted, that we are seeing young talent. The young talent is really doing very well. That's why teams that were regarded as small teams like the Pistons, who were first in the Eastern Conference, you know, we're up there. The competition, the level of competition amongst those 400 and something players that are registered in the NBA is very, very high. So it's point blank. I can say today, the current winner, will he be able to defend it next year? I doubt it. But that's the history. The last team that won back-to-back were the Golden State Warriors. Before the Golden State Warriors, I think
2016,
it was Miami Heats. And before Miami Heats, it was the LA Lakers. Those are the only teams that have won it back-to-back. And no one has done that since the Golden State Warriors did it.
I'm being reminded of the Chicago Bulls. I don't know if we want to go way back to relics and museums, but might as well, because they three-peated. And Michael Jordan, the greatest of all time, was in their team with a dynasty, by the way. Scottie Pippen there and Dennis Rodman. And speaking of dynasties, is this the end of dynasties, or, well, perhaps not really the end of the rebirth of dynasties? Is this a dynasty, this New York Knicks team, when you look at it really with the same faces that played Villanova? There's Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, and Josh Hart. Dante DiVincenzo, unfortunately, is not part of them, but he was with them with Villa. But Mikal and Jalen saying, get me those guys into this team and we can run for a championship, obviously with the help of OG and Karl Anthony Towns. Is this a rebirth of a dynasty? Is this a dynasty, this New York Knicks?
I think this season New York Knicks came to the party. They played very well. They were #3 in the Eastern Conference, moving towards the final. They've been very resilient in their games. They've been playing as a unit under Coach Mike Brown, obviously, and they've been playing great basketball, you know. I didn't think when they qualified for the championships that they'll go to the finals. But when you look at their games in the finals, because remember they swept off Cleveland in the conference final.
They went 11-0 in the postseason. The only game they lost is just this one against the Spurs.
Definitely. And what they did, getting into the playoffs, they upped their game. They upped their game and they performed as a unit. They were fighting for each other. They were fighting for the organization. They wanted it the most.
Do they let go of some players this postseason? Let's say hypothetically, let's say OG Anunoby for KD. As the president of the New York Knicks, are you taking Kevin Durant and releasing OG Anunoby, or you are breaking a dynasty that's existing right now?
I think that would be breaking a dynasty that's existing.
So
I think the team is well-oiled. I think they can go back next season. I mean, we'll see what happens in the drafts, how they perform in the draft. But I think they are good. I wouldn't go for KD anyway. So, I mean, he's had his time, you know. He's a very good player. That we cannot take away from it. But he does not bring the energy that a player like LeBron does to a team.
But he did it for the Warriors.
He did it for the Warriors, and I think that's where it ended.
I don't know, because I think to what you said earlier, as the leader of a team, he doesn't go far. Obviously, we have so many cases. We have OKC, we have what is it? Oh my goodness. The team with the black kit, the Brooklyn Nets.
Yes,
he was with the Brooklyn Nets with Kyrie Irving and James Harden, where he was expected to be the leader. He didn't get far.
No, he didn't.
But when he joined the Warriors, where Steph was a leader and continued to be the leader, even with KD, even though KD then became the best player, you don't think he would have the same effect in the New York Knicks?
I don't think he would. I mean, when he joined Golden State, he was joining a team that was well organized. He was joining a team that was dominating. You know, so I wouldn't want to see the Knicks doing that. You know, bringing a star player. You know,
was going to overshine Brunson.
To overshine the players that led them to the championship. I think maintain the players that they have and see how they can strengthen the squad with other young players in between without dismantling the current team that they have in the organization.
Okay, let's go back to the New York Knicks and focus on the most important topic, which is them ending a drought. The last championship that the New York Knicks had won, by the way, was in 1973, and that is exactly 19,373 days of a drought without a championship. That's a long time, Bonelo, without a championship.
I wasn't even born at that time.
Think about it. They had great players. They had Carmelo Anthony, a lot of other great players. But here's a guy, Jalen Brunson, doubted when he was drafted, when he was acquired by the Knicks. Every pundit said he was not good enough to win them a championship, and then he did it. Take me through your impressions of Jalen Brunson before we get into the Knicks as a dynasty.
I think he performed very well for the Knicks. He led from the front, he led from the back in terms of defense and offensively. He was a star player for them, you know. I know, you know, sometimes when a player is drafted, you never know from your rookie years which direction that you're going to take, you know. But he really did well when he was acquired by the Knicks, and they put faith in him, they trusted him. And then he got a good coach under Mike Brown, you know, who has a history of sporting talent, and his father as well has been backing him up. His father is also a former player of the Knicks as well. So I think he performed very well for the Knicks this season. So.
Him being the most valuable player, averaging 30 points, averaging 5.6 assists, a couple of steals, him just being the best player throughout the postseason for the Knicks. We don't see that too often. You will remember Steph had a great season, one season, and then Iguodala had a really brilliant game guarding LeBron, which he then won the Finals MVP. But Jalen Brunson won Conference MVP, clutch player of the season during the regular season. He is the guy that is clutch. And him scoring the most important points for the Knicks. Remember, the Knicks were down every game. And then they came back during clutch where he was leading. Going into the next season, do you expect him to take this team as far as he has done this season?
I think so. I mean, from a player like him and how he came out to lead the Knicks in the finals, in the entire championship series, I think this is what you expect of a player like him to do next season. You expect him to lead. You expect him to be there for the team. You expect him to continue doing what he did. Rightfully so, as you have put it, the Knicks would always come from behind. And honestly speaking, when it was clear, when Spurs won and Knicks won, looking at how Spurs got to the final, defeating OKC, and that wasn't an easy victory for them against OKC. You would have thought that the Spurs were going to push the Knicks. But unfortunately, you know, the Knicks won it 4-1. I think the Spurs only won game 3 or game 3 only.
Yeah.
And some of these games, Knicks came from behind. At one point, Yes, all of them. At one point, Spurs were leading 29 points. And Jalen came, the team came to cover 29 points in basketball. That's a lot of commitment. It takes dedication, it takes commitment, it takes a fighting spirit for a team to do that. So for me, the Knicks wanted it more. They wanted to do something for the city of New York where they come from, and they rightfully wrote that history after last winning it in 1973.
53 years. Sibonelo, thanks so much for your conversation and your insights. Before I let you go, 4 faces on the Mount Rushmore of your greatest players to ever touch a basketball. Who do you put on your Mount Rushmore?
That's easy for me. First and foremost, it's Michael Jordan. Is always up there.
Is he the greatest of all time for you? Okay, no,
that's another debate. For me, it's LeBron James.
Okay, good enough. So Michael Jordan, that's the first face on your
Michael Jordan, yes. LeBron James is also up there. Shaquille O'Neal is also up there. And I'll never forget the great legend Kobe Bryant.
Okay, Kobe Bryant. Thank you so much. Sibonelo Mamba, NBA fan, avid follower of the game, giving us his insights. Congratulations once again to the New York Knicks, ending that 53-year drought for winning the championship in the NBA. We'll see you again next season for this NBA wrap-up. Let's go for a net break. We'll be back shortly.
To all the viewers of Eswatini TV in the kingdom and beyond. Eswatini TV is regulated by the Eswatini Communications Commission through the Broadcasting Code and Broadcasting Guidelines. Under these instruments, the station commits to broadcasting information and news that have been fact-checked, programs and content in respectful language with no elements of hate speech, violence or sexual activity. If you hear any unsuitable content on this channel, you have a right to voice your complaints with the station management. Should you not be satisfied with the response or action taken, you can escalate your matter to the Communications Commission at PO Box 7811 Babani. Call 2406 7000 or send an email to info@esccom.org.za. For more information, visit www.esccom.org.za.
Kude lesinye isikhathi ngaphandle kwalesi
aba research bafunze.
Being risky means ukuthi nalokuwa kwayo kulula.
Nathi kufuna sende ukukhiqiza lokusebenzisa.
All right, welcome back. It is certainly a day where we profile a lot of basketball. From that conversation with Sibonelo about the National Basketball Association and the finals in the USA, now we're bringing it home as Eswatini is preparing to welcome some of the region's top basketball talent as teams from across Southern Africa converge here at home for the Winter International Basketball Tournament. It is going to happen from the 10th to the 12th of July. More than just a sporting spectacle, the event promises to strengthen regional ties, to promote tourism, as well as stimulate local businesses, as well as to provide valuable competitive opportunities for basketball players and fans alike. In studio, we have two representatives from the, let's call it the conglomerate behind this tournament. We have Londizwe Mngomezulu, who is the director of the Winter Basketball, and as well as Tandoguhle Mkhatshwa, who is the public relations officer. Very good morning to the both of you. Thank you so much for making time to join us here in studio. As a basketball fan, I'm very excited, I must tell you guys. And I'm sure a lot of fans are excited. Maybe before we get into a lot of what I want us to talk about, just give us an overview of, this year's Winter International Basketball Tournament, as well as what spectators can expect to see.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ngumalo. We are excited as organizers of this 2026 Eswatini Basketball Tournament. We are bringing it back after 6 years.
It's a long time.
Yeah, I think we had the last international tournament in 2019.
Before COVID.
Before COVID, and COVID pandemic happened, and our courts went silent. So we are excited to bring it back, Eswatini Winter Basketball Tournament.
Yeah, I also want to throw the same question to you, Tando, because a lot of basketball fans will recognize your face as one of the guys that have kept the game alive, since the COVID pandemic happened. Surely you must be very excited to bring this international one here back at home again. And I'm learning that you won't even be playing yourself. That's how excited you are. You just want to make sure that people can play. How excited are you?
Certainly. Thank you very much, Mr. Ngumalo. We're very, very excited, speaking from the organizer's perspective, speaking from the perspective of a basketball player and as an organizer. I think it's high time, having had a hiatus for so long in basketball, that we have such high caliber competition happening within our borders.
Yeah, maybe let me throw another question back at you. Just how prepared do you think our local teams are to host guys coming from, regions outside of Eswatini, who are very, very competitive and play high-level basketball? I mean, you've been seeing them being active here at home. Do you think they can compete at a high level?
Certainly. In the past couple of months, we've been running a league at the university. Fortunately, with us running the league, it so happened that the competition of the international came up. So it was sort of a building up towards having players ready for the competition. Yeah. So I think we are certainly ready.
Okay, good looking out. Lolo, just how significant is this for the Kingdom of Eswatini to host teams coming from South Africa, Lesotho, Mozambique, and beyond?
Firstly, it's bring back the Eswatini basketball back on the SADC and Africa map.
Yeah.
We can show how organized we are and how ready we are to compete with the international sports.
Right. Of course, and this is happening in the backdrop of probably the biggest sporting code in the world, which is football, or soccer as they call it. The World Cup is happening, but certainly, we look at soccer in Eswatini as one of those sports that has been the poster child for sports for a very long time, Tando. But you've been playing basketball since you were a kid up until now, and you've seen the growth of this sport and what it can do for Eswatini. How do you chime into that very same question as to, just how significant is this tournament for Eswatini?
Certainly it puts Swazi basketball and Swazi hoopers on the map.
Right.
Because of the hiatus that has been there, you'd find that a lot of players don't get the exposure that they need from an international perspective.
Yeah.
So having these teams come in and having our players play in front of those teams certainly puts us at a better position.
Yeah. Do you think there's hope? Because I talk to a lot of the aspiring hoopers who love the game, and some of them have ambitions to play in the NBA, but luckily we have the BAL now, which is not too far-fetched. Do you think with the rising talent we can export players into the BAL in the future?
Certainly. For a fun fact, we already have Swazis playing in the BNL in South Africa. So we're only just one step away in having a team play in the BAL. But also for us to have a team in the BAL, we have to have our house in order in terms of the National League. So that's what qualifies us.
Yeah, there's always a lot of excitement, Lolo, when an international event is going to happen in Eswatini, and certainly this one is called Winter Basketball International Tournament. And I want us to talk from an economics point of view now. Local businesses, tourism, hotels, restaurants, all of them are, raising their eyebrows with excitement.
Yes.
Talk to me about, that opportunity that is there.
It will boost the economy, especially because we have our tournaments have stalls that we have opened to the vendors so that they can come and make sales. The food companies, the transport is going to boost even the hotels, the economy when it comes to hotels, the food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's important, Tando, because especially on the hospitality sector, we speak about hotels, we speak about restaurants. I think people who are not from Eswatini love to experience our food, our culture, as well as our hospitality. Have you seen that in the past, and do you see that growing with this tournament?
Certainly. As a matter of fact, a lot of teams from Mozambique frequent the tournament because they enjoy the experience of coming to Eswatini, especially Mozambique and Zimbabwe.
What do they enjoy in particular?
The competition, definitely the friendly people, the relationships, and of course the afterlife during the night is certainly some of those things that they enjoy.
We are famous for a certain brew in Eswatini that has been the Swazi pride for some time now. I wonder if the basketball players are excited for that as well.
Certainly, without a doubt.
I thought athletes do not indulge in that.
We have an over 40 categories, so you know there's the leniency towards them, I guess.
Okay, speaking of the categories, let's get into that. Lolo, just briefly, if you will, and you will leave some for Tando that side. I don't think I remember, because I've been a fan of this tournament myself, I don't think I remember, watching 40-year-olds having their own category. Is this new?
They were there in the last tournament, I think. But I think it was the men over 40 category.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what do we expect this year in terms of the structure of the whole tournament?
This year we have 3 categories. We were hoping to get 4, but we managed to get 3 categories. We have 1 for the over 40 and 1 men A-light and female A-light.
Okay, let's get into that, Tando. How many local teams do we have in the men's category? Do we have representation in the women's category and in the 40s category?
Yes, we have 4 men's teams in the male category, elite, and then we have 1 in the senior, and then we have 1 in the ladies category. So we have representation. We would love to have more ladies teams.
Yeah,
but I guess this will encourage more ladies to join in and compete.
Do you see them competing and going to reaching the semis? How confident are you? Which category do you believe our local teams can thrive in?
I'd like to put the ladies first. Amazons is actually a team that has been winning.
Yeah,
they have a track record of winning. On the gentleman's side, it is yet to be seen. As a competitor as well, I'd like to see it as well.
Do you guys mind, telling us about the? I'm very interested in the 40s category. Do we have names of some of the guys because that seems to me like a national team now. If you say there's going to be one team representing the seniors, do we have names? Because surely those are people that we know. Those are veterans.
Yeah. There are names attached. I wouldn't call it a national team because it's over 40. But there are names that the local community is aware of. The team is called Zim Zim. So you know the likes of your states, your Lwazim Kobogazi, your Pinda Dlamini, who's also known as in the football fraternity. So you'll definitely be watching high caliber basketball regardless of the age.
Yeah, I want us to get into community engagement, which is something that is always vital in sport. Will there be youth clinics here? Will there be coaching exchanges or maybe outreach programs alongside this tournament?
Yes, we are actually in partnership with the Basketball Association. They have a program they are running which is called Siya Pambisa, which will be happening this weekend in Simunye. So where we come in as the tournament is we're going to be bringing in the officials, the local officials who will be working during the international. So we're just going to be training them and running them through for preparation for the international. So I would say we are giving back to the community of the sport, which is very, very important.
Well, I mean, Lolo, coming back to you, I think one of the biggest questions around tournaments of this caliber is the prizes. Are you in a position to share with us what teams get to win in this tournament?
I will say yes, we have a prize money.
Okay.
But it will be, the figures will be announced on our launch.
Okay.
This coming Monday.
Okay.
Monday
All right.
evening. But we do have a prize money for the champions and the first runner-ups, both males and females.
Okay.
Yes.
Dates are set, Tando. 10 July to the 12th of July. What message do you have to send to the teams that are going to be participating and the fans alike?
I'd like to, first of all, to the teams, to tell them get ready. You're going to see a big thing coming to you, largely because this is not something we're used to within our borders. To the fans, come in, come with your families, invite everyone you can. This is a family event. We want everybody to come and enjoy basketball and what basketball is actually about.
So no age restrictions whatsoever?
None at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Looking ahead, when you look at this event, Lolo, do you have ambitions of this becoming one of a household event in Southern Africa going forward?
Yes, we do have. We are hoping for. We're looking forward for these events happening annually.
Okay.
Growing big, not only attracting countries from the SADC, but Africa and even abroad. Because we want to see basketball being played at primary level, to be introduced at primary level. Young kids, they know about basketball from, and even in the communities down there, we want their basketball to be known, like recognized, like it happening with soccer, with netball. So we are saying from this tournament, we are hoping this tournament is going to birth a lot of tournaments to this, so that our young ones, they get this opportunity and go get scholarships, sponsors, and go abroad.
Thank you so much for your time, Lolo and Tando Kusile. We're excited for the tournament. It's happening on the 10th and the 12th of July, which is next month. That is in give or take 3 weeks now. 3 weeks, right? Am I correct? Yes. In 3 weeks, we have 4 teams in Eswatini that will be playing at a high level. And timing is saying that we are expecting the ladies to represent us really well in the female category. But he also wishes well for the other teams. That marks the end of our conversation and certainly the end of the program today. Enjoy your day. We'll see you again tomorrow. Goodbye.
Thank you so much.